Yes, the Dutch Barn. Dutch Barn. I co-own that company. And yeah, all the adverts I've been doing, they can never get on telly. Well, I'm going to do some for telly maybe, just take up some of the swearing. And it's made in Yorkshire from apples. It's we got our own orchard and everything. I'm a farmer, officially. I told you, didn't I? So if there's a war, I couldn't fight. Like, they'd fucking have me anyway. We need that fat old bloke. Why? He's got 4 hands. 4. See?
These people are in power, and they're in power on a tiny sliver of the electorate. Keir Starmer got 34% of all those that voted in the British general election. But he only got 19% of all the people who could have voted in that election. And so a guy with 19% of the British public's support got 63% of the seats in the British Parliament. And now he's busy ennobling his friends, cronies and donors, putting them in the House of Lords, making them members of Parliament for life. So I agree with you. We should fight for accountability. We should demand it. But the ultimate accountability is when they stand up for election. That's why I am clear about the elections in May. Anybody but Labour. Vote for anybody but Labour. Labour must be destroyed.
Try Dutch Barn. Yes, it might make me $1 billion, but when I die, that'll go to worthy causes, won't it? That's why I haven't had kids. Even though my kids don't exist, I hate the little to have all my money. Right, that'll do. The last couple of weeks and the bit before, I put on £3. I didn't all the way through, so I'm going into Christmas fat. So I'm going to be a fat little fucker. Anyway, it started well, didn't it?
You appear to have gone into some form of grief about the downfall of this ruthless, vile dictator. Why?
Well, when you say I spent time with Bashar al-Assad, you might have added that I spent time with him in Buckingham Palace when he was a guest of Her Majesty the Queen, literally living in the spare room at Buckingham Palace. The night before, going down the Mall in an open-top coach with Her Majesty on a royal trot around central London. You might have mentioned that Tony Blair suggested a knighthood for Bashar al-Assad. I've met him once, twice in my life, and the second time, not on my own. So grief? No, my grief is for Syria. My grief is for the Syrian people, who are now ruled by ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And if you were being honest with yourself, knowing what you do about ISIS and Al-Qaeda, you'd be grieving with me.
We each live our lives. The goal of each individual, I suppose, is to be as happy as you can be without hurting anyone else, without infringing on other people's rights. And there's probably a list of things that make each person happy. Mine is dogs, wine, this, talking absolute shit for a living, creating. What else? You know, all the usual things, friends and family and all that. Work, learning. People always forget that. I always forget it, but it's great just finding stuff out. So anyway, everyone has a list of things that makes them happy, and you just got to do that all your life and then die and probably leave the world in as good a state as you found it, if you can. That's just common courtesy, isn't it? If you borrowed someone's caravan for the weekend, and threw up everywhere, pissed on the carpet, shut the bed, you'd clean up, wouldn't you? Saturday morning. Just common courtesy. Little tip there.
Well, I certainly think there are a lot of concerns, legitimate concerns, about the leader of the rebels, who clearly was running part of al-Qaeda in Syria. That's unquestionable. He says he's a changed person. He's distanced himself from, as he puts it, the extremists. I think we have to wait and see how this plays out and see if he is true to his words. Certainly the Americans seem to be buying into that at the moment, are supporting him, as are many other countries. In this country, for example, in the UK, I've seen that the government is saying we may have to unprescribe the group that he represents as a terror group in light of what's happened. So there's a lot going on here. And clearly there are a lot of groups in Syria, and there's a lot of people who are claiming they have gone from extreme fundamentalism to more moderate positions. Let's wait and see. It has been known to happen. I would say to you, though, I'm not talking really about what happened with Assad when he first came to power, because he was all the things that you've rightly articulated. I just find it odd that you would view his dismissal now as a bad thing for Syrians. And we made a quick checklist here. This is a guy, I remember I was at CNN at the time with the 2011 Arab Spring. He crushed the peaceful resistance. It led to a devastating civil war, at least 300,000, maybe 500,000 deaths. More than 14 million Syrians had to flee their homes. He fired rockets filled with sarin gas on Ghouta, killing nearly 1,500, mostly women and children. Continued to use chlorine and sarin on his own people between 2014 to 2018. Russian and Syrian government airstrikes killed more than 100,000 Syrians since 2011. Thousands tortured and left to rot in prisons. The prisons are currently being emptied out. People have been kept there, right, in underground, horrific conditions for sometimes decades under this guy. And so whatever the argument, which is a legitimate one, as I say, about what may come next, we've seen with Libya and with Iraq and even with Iran, sometimes be careful what you wish for, and I'm absolutely cognizant of that. And I'm not getting too excited until I see how this plays out in terms of the leadership. But you cannot defend Assad's record of how he has treated his own people, given the scale of death, destruction, wrongful imprisonment, torture, and so on. Can you?
Well, that's the kind of propaganda porn that you've just adumbrated, that we were treated to about Saddam Hussein to justify invading and occupying Iraq. Both you and me, to our eternal credit, saw through that because we refused to abstract. Even if 1/5 of what you just said there is the case, that is not a justification for making every matter worse. Now, it's true that Paul had a dramatic conversion on the road to Damascus, but we know al-Golani. He wasn't just the number 2 to Zarqawi in Iraq. He was the al-Qaeda number 2 in Iraq, killing British soldiers, by the way, killing American soldiers, by the way. And then he went to Syria and became the number 2 to al-Baghdadi, the founder of ISIS in Syria. So that would knock Paul's conversion on the road to Damascus into a cocked hat. Now, like you, I'm waiting for developments. Like you, I'm ready to treat this on its merits. If the Christian priests are not massacred, if the nuns are not kidnapped, if the religious minorities and Kurdish minorities and Druze minorities are not hunted down, like Golani did just 7 years ago, well, nobody will be happier than me. But you used the words, be careful what you wish for. In the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus yesterday, his supporters were chanting that they're on their way to Jerusalem next. And after Jerusalem, they're on their way to Mecca next. Now, I could live with that, Piers. I'm not sure that you could.
Listen, I'm not trying to make a defence of any of it at the moment. I think it's a very turbulent situation. As you know, I've got relatives, including my brother, who've been in the military, and you can make a very good argument that when you depose dictators, it often leads to a worse situation. I mean, I think that's inarguable. And I'm not saying for a moment that I have absolute confidence that won't happen here, but I certainly wouldn't let that stray into a defence of Assad, who I think is indisputably proven himself to be an evil dictator.
Well, you can't, can you? I mean, you can't. I mean, it's so subjective, isn't it? And today, there's no such thing as mental. Everyone's got an excuse. Everything's a fucking, you know what I mean? It used to be he's mental, but now, no, he's not. So, I think it would be them to prove I was mental. What would I do? Just have a sort of dignified conversation. Like that. I go, well, sorry about the inconvenience. There's been a misunderstanding. I'd do the test, right? And I go, yeah. And I go, well, yeah, you're saying. And then as they would leave, I go, oh, they say, well, listen, I'll put in the recommendation. You'll leave. I go, as they leave, I go, can I eat your feet? And they go, oh, fucking hell. Oh.
Let me ask you, there's a lot going on in the world right now, not least in the Middle East. You've seen Israel clearly have military success now, both against Hamas and Hezbollah, which seems to have given them a resurgent popularity. Netanyahu was very unpopular, is now much more popular because these people support what he's been doing with what they perceive to be terrorism. Iran, I would argue, is indisputably been weakened, not just by that, by also what's happened with al-Assad. You could argue that Russia has also been weakened because they basically pulled out of Syria completely. They've got a lot of troops there, but they're trying to get out of there completely. What do you make of the whole situation in totality? Donald Trump's coming in. He's made it clear he wants to end the war in Ukraine. He wants to try and end the wars in the Middle East. But where are we going to be left out of all this in a few months, do you think?
Well, unfortunately, for the purposes of show business, I agreed with all of that you just said. The truth is that the big winners in this are Erdogan, the new Ottoman emperor, whose flag is flying on the citadel in Aleppo for the first time since Lawrence of Arabia and the Syrian Arab national movement drove the Ottomans out in the First World War, and Netanyahu, who looked dead and buried only 15 months ago.
Yeah.
He looked like he was headed for the pokey. And now he's the cock of the walk. And frankly, the Arabs are lying prone on the floor. And only his tender mercies are anything or everything that stands in the way of him doing to them as he pleases. And he's now invading Syria. He's expanding the Israeli so-called buffer zone, occupation zone on Syrian territory. He's cleaned half of the Gaza Strip entirely of its Palestinian population, the north of Gaza. He could right now, tonight, open the gates of Rafah and drive the remaining Palestinians into the desert in Egypt, and nobody, literally nobody, is going to stop him.
And he's got a president coming in who is completely on his side.
Well, we'll see about that. Depends which Donald Trump you meet. If it's the Donald Trump that was campaigning in Michigan on the eve of poll before his greatest comeback since George Foreman's rumble in the jungle, that Donald Trump wants to end the wars. That Donald Trump might be the one, counterintuitively, I'll grant you, who forces Netanyahu to have some mercy and to try and bring about an end to this suppurating conflict that has poisoned world affairs for basically all
I
of
think
my
Trump,
life.
I actually
When
agree
I
with you.
first-
I agree with you. I think Trump, I spoke to him last week and it came up about Middle East and Ukraine and Russia. He is instinctively, he's anti-war. Always has been. Apart from anything else, as a business guy, he just thinks war is bad for business. It costs an awful lot of money. It puts enormous strain on the economy. And what do you gain? I mean, his argument, I think, would be actually, if you look at America's wars and interventions over the last 50 years, where could you see a clear victory which justified all the money and all the bloodshed and everything else? And I would agree with him. So I do think he can be surprising. I also think there's a will to get peace now, certainly with the Israel-Hamas war, and I think also with Ukraine-Russia. You can see the rhetoric from Zelensky that he is clearly now ready to do some kind of deal because they're both losing too many people. I mean, Russia's losing 2,000 soldiers a day. That's why they've got the North Koreans coming in.
If you were immortal for one day, what would you do? Right, so, okay, I know what you mean. So I can't die, whatever I do that day, like Groundhog Day. I can do what I want, and I can't. But then, at midnight, I'm mortal again. I've got to be careful. Well, I suppose I would do dangerous things. Would I do things? Would I like go into war zones and sort people out because they couldn't kill me? Or would I just fuck about? Just like jump off buildings to get to annoy tourists? Hold on though. Right, I'm immortal, but I've seen these things like the monkey's paw and 3 wishes go wrong when there's a twist in the tale. So I jump off a building for a laugh and I crunch and I'm not dead, but I'm smashed to pieces and in agony. And I'm going, "Ugh." And then you go, yeah, I didn't say you. "Ugh." So I'm absolutely fucked. And then I just die of my injuries the next day. You gotta be careful with these questions. What would I do? I don't know. What would I do? Maybe I would do things that other people couldn't do. But what's that though? And you only got one day. What's the point? Running around bouncing off cars for a laugh. Good question though, that, isn't it? Some people have really got thought that out. Like, I know what I'd do. Wade into poachers. Just going like, they wouldn't know what I did, would they?
If you will.
Earlier today, we've seen somewhere around 50 inmates released as part of the new Labour government's plan to free up prison space.
It's cases like this the government wants to see sped up. To do so, a package of reforms, including a major shift away from jury trials to try and clear a backlog of nearly 80,000 cases.
We now face an emergency in the courts and we must act. As Lord Chancellor, my responsibility is to ground reform in the rule of law and the right to a fair trial.
Last month, the notorious Sidney Cook was blasted into space to spend the rest of his life aboard a one-man prison vessel, posing no further threat to children on Earth. But it was revealed that an 8-year-old boy was also placed on board by mistake and is now trapped alone in space with the monster. A spokesman said, "This is the one thing we didn't want to happen."
All these changes come as the Justice Secretary admits another 12 prisoners have been mistakenly released in the last 3 weeks.
What should be the goal of humanity? Well, there's no goal, is there really? We each live our lives. The goal of each individual, I suppose, is to be as happy as you can be without hurting anyone else, without infringing on other people's rights. So and there's probably a list of things that make each person happy. Mine is dogs, wine, this, talking absolute shit for a living, creating. What else? You know, all the usual things, friends and family and all that. Work, learning. People always forget that. I always forget it, but it's great just finding stuff out. So anyway, everyone has a list of things that makes them happy, and you just got to do that all your life, and then die, and probably leave the world in as good a state as you found it if you can. That's just common courtesy, isn't it? If you borrowed someone's caravan for the weekend and threw up everywhere, pissed on the carpet, shut the bed, you'd clean up, wouldn't you? Saturday morning. Just common courtesy. Little tip there.
As court cases are sped up, that could shift pressure onto a prison system already at breaking point.
Look, if I have to be honest with you, whoever thought of this idea, they must be totally out of their mind. Because if you release people in waves, you get crime in waves. It's as simple as that.
And you think that's going to happen then?
It's already happened. It's already happened once. They've already released early, and they've already got them people already back in jail. But if they want to help people and start helping people, give them a bit of work when they get out or something. Yeah? Not just releasing people out the gate to get on with their life.
You're saying just the lack of support, just letting people go out on their own.
100%. This is the only time I've ever had help is today when I walked out and they give me a phone. That is the only help I've had in 20 years. They give me a phone.
Okay,
yeah?
all right.
One of the charities, Catch 22. So at least someone's trying to do something, you know?
And what were you inside for?
ABH.
ABH, and how long are you in for?
1 year.
1 year, and you got released how early?
A month.
A month early, okay. We're just talking off camera about, you know, obviously they've let you out because the prisons are overcrowded. What does it feel like inside HMP Brixton? Does it feel like it's overcrowded?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, and give me an example of how. How does it feel like it's overcrowded?
You're in a single cell and they've got double beds and that. Too many people in the prison.
Do you think this scheme that they've done to release people, do you think that's going to work? Do you think that's going to free up space inside the prisons?
No, because all they're going to do is put all the people from the riots in. It's going to be filled up again. And no one's getting any rehabilitation.
So it's not actually going to bring any of the sort of prison population down, or free up space, sorry.
They're just going to empty it out and then fill it up with new people. Really? And then they've got the backlog from COVID. So they'd be in, and plus most people reoffend, so they'd be straight back in.
The caseload is projected to reach 100,000 by 2028, and without fundamental change could keep rising, meaning justice will be denied to more victims and trust in the system will collapse. Mr. Speaker, to avoid that disaster, I will follow Sir Brian's bold blueprint for change. First, I will create new swift courts within the Crown Court with a judge alone deciding verdicts in triable either way cases with a likely sentence of 3 years or less, as Sir Brian recommends. Sir Brian estimates that they will deliver justice at least 20% faster than jury trials. And whilst jury deliberations remain confidential, judges provide reasoning for their verdicts in open court. So this will hardwire transparency into our new approach.
And today there's no such thing as mental. Everyone's got an excuse. Everything's a fucking, you know what I mean? It used to be mental. But now, no, he's not. So
I said to Parliament a few weeks ago, I released data at that point, and there had been 91 releases in error up to that point. There have been 12 since then. 2 are currently at large. That's new information that I'm sharing with you. I'm pleased that the trend is downwards because of some of the improvements that I put into the system, a new query unit between our courts and our prisons, digital technology to help to move the system forward. And of course, I've asked Dame Lynn Owens to conduct a review, and she'll be reporting in the spring, and then we will build on what she said.
Has your phone been stolen, or have you been caught in an online scam? Changes to the justice system could impact you. New court reforms announced today by the Justice Secretary could make it easier for you to get justice for things like theft and fraud. In an effort to reduce the nearly 80,000 case backlog faced by the Crown Courts, the Justice Secretary David Lammy has announced bold new court reforms.
When victims are left waiting for years, justice is effectively denied to them. And this is a betrayal of our legal heritage, and it's a betrayal of the victims themselves.
So what has changed? The first key change is that jury trials will be scrapped for defendants facing a sentence of 3 years or less. Secondly, magistrates' courts will be able to hand down longer sentences, from the current 12 months to potentially up to 2 years. Lastly, for crimes that carry a sentence of up to 3 years that a magistrate sends to the Crown, a jury will not decide. Instead, it'll be down to a single judge. So what will it mean for you? Well, it may result in swifter and quicker sentencing for those mid-level crimes. It will also mean less jury service, with juries only being used for serious indictable offences, such as murder and rape. Currently, the predicted caseload backlog could rise to around 100,000 in the next few years. The government hopes that these changes will see victims get justice quicker.
You wanted to divide them, you wanted to separate us. So we look divided.
We often see people pulled up online for an old tweet that contradicts their current position. And rather than celebrate that that person has learned something and has changed their opinion, it is used as a massive pile-on to cancel them. Exactly. How do you feel about that? And is there anything your 20-year-old self would have tweeted that you wouldn't agree with now? I'm sure. I can't think of anything. Although I'd probably be embarrassed by my 20-year-old self trying to be so right on, because that's what most 20-year-olds are, they're trying to be. So I'd probably cringe at getting it slightly wrong, if anything. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Don't forget, that sort of is purely people saying, look how good I must be. If I'm bringing someone down, if I'm cancelling someone because the tiniest thing they did 10 years ago, think how perfect I must be. That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to get one-upmanship to make themselves look better. So yeah, it's to be ignored. And you're exactly right. If there's no value in changing and saying sorry, don't bother then. It's ludicrous. You're exactly right. People, if you find something that people was 10 years ago and now they're not, you're right, that should be applauded, because they've changed for the better. But it's just people hating on each other to make themselves look better. Best thing is just ignore it. Just ignore it. That's what these people, they want attention. They don't care what it is. It's like these people who go on any march to windows. They don't care about the cause. It's that 5% that brings all good ideas are eventually infiltrated and ruined by a minority. The trolls of the political world.
What a feeling. Okay? Most man in Britain. All your lives didn't work. And the best thing is, we're unifying the people. Exactly what you wanted to stop. You wanted to divide them, you wanted to separate us. So we look divided. Come on. Back up, mate, back up! Come on.
But most people are all right. If you looked at Twitter, if an alien looked at Twitter, they'd go, we're not going there. It's mental, right? But if any aliens are watching, it's not like that. Don't think the real world is like the maniacs, the 5% crazies each other over the minutiae of nothing. It's not like that. Most people are nice, normal people getting on with their lives, okay? If you're a big fat slug, I'm Zorgon, I go, come on lads, come down, we're all right. We might eat you. We eat everything, so we might eat you. But apart from that, we're all right. I'd forgotten that lyric. It really sums up my attitude at the moment. Wish everybody would leave me alone. That is, I don't know, the way the world's going. I just want to be left alone. So I don't do anything anymore. Can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. This is why we can't have nice things. People are never happy. You try your hardest. Yeah. I wouldn't call it street life now, though. I call it home life. I just want to be, I want to stay here. It's bad now. Doesn't matter what it is. I just turn down going to everything now. Even like nice things, like, you know, like a party, award show, and I just go, oh, I can't. I'm giving the orphanage. COVID, I've got COVID. Oh, God. Oh, cough. See? I tested yesterday. Right. Yeah. I was forced into this. Dogs and cats going, you doing a thing tonight? Yeah. I am. What's been happening? Right, here's some questions. Titch was straight in. If they invent a device that allowed you telepathically to talk to dogs, would you spend all day over Hampstead Heath stalking dogs? And do you know what I'm thinking in this pic? You're thinking Borley, biscuit, pigeon. Just like that. In your head. Yeah, that'd be amazing if I could talk to dogs, wouldn't it? I'd use them as an army, I think. That's if someone was annoying me. I go, and I roar, the dogs would come out, and I go, like that. And he'd run away. Christine, what 3 things in your life bring you the most happiness? Well, I assume you don't mean friends, family, you know, spouses and all that. That would be obvious, wouldn't that? Would use them all up, wouldn't it? So apart from that, take that as a given. Work. I like doing the work. Even though I know people who complain, I still enjoy doing that. I enjoy coming up with stuff, and I go, oh, this will annoy people. So I enjoy the work, or the creativity, I should say. I enjoy I enjoy coming up with ideas and doing them and that, and I can't wait to. I'm doing some new stuff. Next week, new material. I love that bit of it. I get excited about that. Come up with a new idea. But then I want to go, I don't do anything else ever again. Then you start thinking of all the admin you've got to do. It takes ages. Like a year's work for half hour on telly, and people watch it. And some people go, oh, it was good. Some people go, yeah, it was alright. Some people go, I didn't like it. Some people go, I'm going to write a letter to the BBC. Well, actually, I wish I missed those days. That's why there's so much more complaining these days. Because 20 years ago, if you wanted to complain about something, you'd get out a pencil and paper and you go, dear BBC, I can't be bothered. What am I doing? Let's have a cup of tea. Right? Brilliant. Right? Now, they can fire a tweet off. And someone goes, yeah, dude, suddenly it's like a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. Turn the telly off. I didn't like this. Who can I tell? Don't tell anyone. Just don't watch it again. What 3 things? So, creativity. My work that I do, it just happens to be my job, but I love that, coming up with stuff. Dogs, animals in general, I suppose animals. Nature. Creativity, nature. Playing tennis. I look forward to that all week, like 1 hour. If it rains, I'm furious. I need a tennis court in my house in London so I can play every day. Even against a wall, like a really sad kid. I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with half a tennis court and a big wall. Because then I could play tennis and I wouldn't have to meet anyone or arrange anything. Like a proper little mad recluse. That's how I taught myself. After school, by myself in the gym, hitting against a wall. Yeah. So, creativity, animals, tennis, wine, that's 3. Right. Max and Muffin. Did you consciously move your foot when you were talking about Lisa in Afterlife? His friend, oh yeah, but this is Max and Muffin, and his friend's a widower, said that they tap their foot when they're talking about their wives. I don't know if I did it specifically because of that. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but like if you're getting emotional and you're anxious, I think you do fidget. Like to control it, you know, you're trying to control things. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but I usually do act. If I'm sad, I do. You know, my lips quiver and you fidget because you're embarrassed and you're nervous and you're thinking. I also think I do it. So because you're childlike, because you're vulnerable, you're worried and you want comfort. So a lot of people, when they're really emotional, you know, they revert almost, like they're weak because they need comfort. So I did do it consciously, but I didn't do it specifically, like, you know, about being a widower. But yeah, I'm fascinated with body language. I think it's not done enough in acting. They just say the words, but, you know, and put teardrops in. But I just think it's more than that. It's like there's a lot goes on. Like so much is non-verbal and tells and give things away that you're really thinking and not what you're actually saying. So I'm fascinated with the psychology of body language. Yeah, and that's very nice that people have noticed. Gunnar, what are the necessary components for defining consciousness? The necessary components for defining it? Well, words. I have to use words. Well, it is a tricky one. I still don't think people quite understand what consciousness... A definition of consciousness, in layman's terms, and I don't say that like I'm not a layman, I am a layman. Although what people don't realise is, right, because I talk to cats and dogs, and I say stupid, and I look like a bag of shit as well, right? And I've got a stupid Reading accent, and I look thick and old and drunk, right? Right? They don't realise that I have got an honours degree from a top university in philosophy, okay? And discussion of consciousness was one of the first things I remember when I did my degree, discussing Descartes. Now Descartes, a French fella, and he was pondering. This is probably the single most famous phrase in philosophical circles. I'm sure you've heard of it. Cogito ergo sum. It means I think, therefore I am. And where it comes from was Descartes was going, how do I know this is real? How do I know I'm even alive? What if this is like like a dream? None of this is real. I'm not really here. And he went through all that. I went, well, it could be a dream. But then he went, oh, but hold on. Even if it's not real, but I'm dreaming it, I must be alive to have these thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I'm thinking, therefore I must exist. And consciousness is an individual's awareness of oneself in the world. That's all it is, really. It's the fact that we're feeling thoughts, we're feeling we're alive. Maybe it's not even a self-awareness, because I assume there are loads of examples of animals that are conscious, but they're not thinking, oh, I'm a nice little frog. But to explain it in any terms, it must be the awareness of that even if you can't put it into language, it's the awareness of being, I'd say. There's probably philosophers out there and neuroscientists and psychologists going, you don't know what you're talking about, Gervais. Well, that may be so, but at least I'm saying it like I know what I'm talking about, and that is all that matters these days. People are so confident they've got a good point or an original thought. The worst thing at the moment is this myth that all new ideas are good. It's just not true. There's people go, oh yeah, come on, it's a new idea. Get with the program. This is the future. No. Loads of ideas. And they have a go at when you go, hey, let's go back to the way. Loads of ideas. Everyone who's had a new idea thought, that's a good idea, isn't it? No, it's not. It might not be. It's a idea. I bet loads of people, like years ago, were going, oh, get with the program, Grandad. Communism's a brilliant idea. No, it's not. Same with fascism. No, they were new ideas once, weren't they? Fascism, communism, they're all new ideas. Brilliant. No, they're not all new ideas. Not all progress is good. Sometimes you go, what are we doing? Why do we do this? It's bollocks. Oh, God. I mean, the internet, that seems like a good idea at the moment. I think soon we're going to turn it off. This. Apparently, in one of the plagues, the Black Death, they thought it was the smell. They thought the disease was carried on smell. So you've got they made these big sort of weird sort of suits that were like leather things with like a beak that was packed with like posies and flowers because they thought the smell couldn't get in. What's weird is it worked, because what they didn't realise was it was actually carried on fleas, but the fleas couldn't bite them. So they thought this suit was working, and it was working, but only because the fleas couldn't bite them, because they were keeping out the smell. It's good, isn't it? I could do that. Oh, I'd be useless. That's a good question, that. Julia, what or who was your inspiration for the annoying English teacher? He was brilliant in an awful way. Yeah. Played by the great Tim Key, one of Diane's dates. The joke, though, often those little things are my excuse to do like a sketch about a type. So it wasn't based on anyone, but the sketch was very simple, classic comedy sketch writing. Was, what if you took your job home with you? Classic. What if a teacher, like a teacher is at school, what if he was like that at home? Classic comedy. So he couldn't get out of how he treated children with an adult. Elbows, sit up. That was the joke. Then you just build things around him, make him pompous, make him rude to waiters, make him sort of arrogant, make him, think that he's a genius. But that was the inspiration. What if a policeman was a policeman at home? And it's just classic old sketch writing. Leslie. Armageddon is about the end of the world. Yeah, that's my next stand-up after Supernature. I've done Supernature, but that's not going to be out for months. That's on Netflix. They're putting that into 160 languages, so people can complain in every country in the world. But our next one is Armageddon. My question is, did you find your head was just bursting with so many ideas for this subject? Yeah, it was. So the basic premise of this is, it's me. I'm going to talk about all the different ways humanity will be wiped out, and I'm sorry that I'm not around to see it. So a cheery subject. So it take on everything from, you know, are we going to destroy ourselves from ideas, politics, war, greed, famine, global warming, amedia, you know, whatever, zootropic diseases. So it's all about that, all those fun things, but me sort of laughing about it. I'm being a bit smug that I'll be dead, but sorry that I'd like to see it. So, yeah, but I've got my first new material night, Tuesday, and just going to go down and just try stuff out, really. I haven't really written routines, but I've got, you know, the odd observation and gag, and my chums are going to help me out. So, yeah, very exciting. Nancy, when you stay in a hotel somewhere, do you secretly take things from the hotel room? Like the soap, shampoo, tea bags? I do. I don't take those things. I take a pen, because I like the fact that it's got the name of the hotel and the city often. Like, you know, Four Seasons, Paris, or whatever. Now they'll be on the phone. They're going, where's our pen? I don't know. You says on the bollocks gang, you nick our pen. I went, no. I didn't know. They said, Nancy said she nicks tea bags and shit. But you did say with us and you nick our pen. I go, no. I did that. Can't prove it. Casper and Yuri. Why are there no cats in Afterlife? I'll tell you, because they can't act. Simple as that. They can't act. Dogs can act, can't they? They do what they're told. Cats don't. Cats won't do what they're told. The best you can hope from a cat is that it just sits there, if that's what you want. But you can't write cat walks across. Fuck, he's fucked. He's sat down. He's licking his. Right, cut. So that's the answer. And there is one. Is it Ep 3? Series 2? The sort of lady who's lost her husband and daughter, and she's got a little cat, played by Sid the cat. I think his name is Frank in the thing. I've got a different chair, but it's too slidey. I keep sliding down like that. It's too slidey. So yeah, there are cats. There's one cat in Afterlife, and it just had to sit there so that you could do that. Keena, how does it feel to receive such an overwhelming response from different parts of the world? I think it is utterly phenomenal. It is. It's mental. I talk about some of the cast, and none of us have ever done anything like this for the reaction, the amount of people. And it's not just the viewing figures, they're mental. I mean, they are mental. When you think about the people get excited about what, you know, you get on telly, right? And it's like 20 times that. It's mad, right? But that, I can't take credit for that. That's, Netflix has got to take some of the credit for that. Well, and the people that watched it, of course. And word of mouth is the best. Word of mouth is still the best. And particularly because it's always there. It's not like it's gone, like if it's on telly or, you know, or you got to buy the DVD or something. It's always there. So people are visiting it like it's the first day it's out. People discovering it every day. And every day people finish the whole series or start the series. But what's different about this is the depth of the connection. Obviously, people like the jokes and, you know, they like all the comedy characters like Brian and rating them on, but I'd say 9 out of 10 compliments are people saying, you know, they cried or they connected with the character or something. And the best thing about it is, because it's had hundreds of millions of views, right? Some people don't even know the other stuff I've done. Some people are sort of coming of age. They weren't born when The Office was out, so they're going, oh, I didn't. Or some people are going, I hated The Office, but I love this, and then they go back and watch Derek that they didn't watch because they didn't like The Office or something. So it's just constant. It's a constant stream of people discovering it or me or Netflix, and it is a phenomenon. And but the best thing about it is it's the emotional connection. I think some people don't like it. Some people hate that. Some people go, oh, I ruined the comedy. But everyone's different. Of course they do. If you look at 10 things I've done and you ask 1,000 people to put them in order, it would be a different order. Everyone will put it in a different order. Some people will hate The Office, love Afterlife. Some people it's the other way around. Everyone is different. And no one thinks they're wrong. If you see people see a list, they go, well, that's a wrong list. It's not a wrong list. It's just not your list, mate. Everyone's different. It doesn't surprise me. It never surprises me what order people put my stuff in. I just think, well, yeah, because you're a person. So you're going to have it in your order. But people take it personally. You see it. I see it online when someone says, I hated The Office, I love this. People go, you're crazy, dude. I hated this, I love The Office. There's no argument. It's not a right or wrong answer. It's so weird. Because they take it, they think, oh, why isn't everyone the same as me? Why do people love that thing? I hate it. Or why don't people love that thing? I love it. So it is phenomenal. And overall, obviously, it's just amazing. And the important thing is that's the proof of the pudding, right? You know, I see these things that a few people rave about and no one watches them because it's sort of like there's a snobbery. You're going to watch this thing. It's like, you know, like the posh press or champion something, and then you look at it and you think, well, it's everyone in the world is equal. Everyone is just as valid. 1 million people watching something, you know, that's amazing to me. I realise more and more that I only care about the audience now. I used to love awards and reviews only because I wanted people to watch the show, but now I realise it's irrelevant now because social media. Like, more people are watching this than read a newspaper today. So I thank you. I thank the people at home for watching this sort of shit, retweeting things, watching Afterlife, Derek. You are the only, that you're the only ones that matter. Nothing else matters. And that's the thing as well, that I think the broadcasters are suddenly realising that in studios. They can put all the 5-star reviews and say won Oscars, doesn't matter. Whereas if people watch something, they want a piece of it. They want that's all they care about deep down, because they only care about awards and reviews to get people to watch the thing. So if you go straight as a new advice I'd give to a new director, go straight to the public, go direct to the public, and that's what matters. And that'll stop you being a fucking snob and just worry about the ordinary people. I include myself in that, by the way. I'm an ordinary person. I'm not saying I'm special. Far from it. But that's one of my pet hates. I see that. Celebrities definitely think they're a little bit better. They're not. They're worse. They're worse. Right. There you go. That was half hour of absolute, wasn't it? Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Buy a t-shirt. Buy buy something for charity, help the dogs and cats, all animals. Be nice to animals. And cheers. Tatty bye everyone. Tatty bye.